God, let the meditation of my heart and the words of my mouth convey what you would have me to convey. I thank you for all the loving people that you have surrounded around us. Now, Father, reveal. Amen.
Second Chronicles 7:14. If my people who are called by my name.
Repeat that, everybody.
If my people
And have them
who
repeat
are
it.
called by my name will humble themselves and pray.
Will humble themselves and pray.
And seek my face.
And seek my face.
And turn from their wicked ways.
And turn from their wicked ways.
Then I will hear from heaven.
Then I will hear from heaven.
And I will forgive their sin.
And I will forgive their sin.
And I will heal their land.
And I will heal their land. Let's do that again. Listen, the only way that I've gotten to where I'm at, and many of us who follow the Lord have gotten to where we are, we follow this process. Let's say it again, please.
If my people
who are called by my name
will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then
I will hear from heaven.
And I will forgive their sin.
And I will forgive their sin.
And I will heal their land.
And I will heal their land. Father, I thank you right now. Help me to be transparent and reveal how I could have messed up my daughter, and just let me reveal the things that you've shown me so that a mother and her child, a mother and her grown child can get it together. I thank you. Amen. We're going to talk about shame. We've been talking about how our ego was created, and we believe that our ego was us. And many of us have become something other than what we were made to be or brought here to be. Stage of being shamed, whole identity. Say that. Stage of being shamed, whole identity. And that's a note for me to be able to say, shame is a self-conscious emotion. Did they pass y'all out those papers, those cards? Because you're probably going to need these notes cards. I was going to prepare them for you, but I ain't in your soul, so you know what notes that you want to put on those cards to memorize. Now, let me explain to you why I talk about cards. In Habakkuk chapter 1, or is it chapter 2, he said, write down the revelation and make it plain so the herald can run with it. And I understood if you didn't write this down, if you understand, they were still talking about certain triggers in your mind that would be triggered when you wrote it down. He said, put this on your doorsteps, put them on your door frames so that your children will understand. So most of my life, since I've understood that, which has been 15, 20 years, I put it all over. Like one time I put down, she is not your enemy. And I put a scripture. This is when I lived, I think I was about 39, 40. No, it had to be 37. I said, she's not your enemy. And the reason I said she's not your enemy is because I had a disposition that Jill was my enemy. And I was coming at her with energy. And I needed to stop that. But I didn't tell her what it is. I just said, not your enemy. But I meant it is not your enemy, and I would respond to that. So shame is a self-conscious emotion. It takes over a whole identity. Say this, shame is the belief that I'm flawed. I'm going to do Wildflower, Lord willing. And I said, who told you your butt was too big? Who told you your lips was too thin? Who told you you had a high this? Who told you that your toes look bad? Who told you that your hair was too kinky? Who told you your hair was too short? Who told you you were too black? Who told you you were too forceful? Who told you that you were nasty when you were just speaking truth? Who told you these things? Whoever said these things to you had no idea that they were operating in a power of impugning shame on the psyche of a child. Once shame is transformed into identity, it becomes toxic. Once your shame becomes who you are, it becomes toxic. And toxic means poison for your system. It dehumanizes me and it becomes my state of being. Toxic shame. Let's say that. Toxic shame. Say, what is it? Say, soul, my soul. I'm getting ready to tell you what toxic shame is. Faith cometh by hearing. Don't think you're going to remember these notes. Listen, soul, mind, spirit, and body. Now, you ain't got to repeat after me now. Toxic shame equals unbearable. And it necessitates a cover-up. And a cover-up creates a false self. Since one feels his true self is defective and flawed, one needs a false self that is not defective and flawed. Say this. Something in my life taught me that I was defective and flawed, which created a need for me to create a self that was not defective. Say this. Once I become my false self, I cease to exist psychologically. Because when you become your false self, you stop thinking. You let habit take over. You let ritual take over. You let survival take over. You let all in the name of not being hurt take over. And so you're really no longer thinking. And so molested, nobody dealt with it or whatever. In order to not deal with certain things, you end up creating a false self with bravado that confronts and does whatever. But once you are focused on that, your false self, that's what you're in. And so my wife, at times when we were married, especially early on, and then, sometimes later, who am I talking to? Who is this? Because my false self would take over. When I realized there was an issue was when we went on one of our first vacations as a couple. We may have been married about 5 years, maybe about 5 years at that point, maybe 6. No, it was 7. And she was in the hotel. It was morning time, sun coming through, light coming through, all that. Say it was beautiful. Listen, hey, we as black Negroes or whatever, we had not had that kind of luxury. And so we were happy to be in a nice place. And she was happy. And I'm laying in the bed. And I realized I started trying to think of something to be mad at. Something that I could say that I was bothered about. But here I was in another country. I said, Deron, there's no need then what is happening with you right now? I've been on this search for a long time. And I said, you have this thing when it comes to morning time. Because mornings was often chaotic. And so in order to feel normal, you got to start some stuff. I want you to do it. In order to feel normal, say it. You got to start some stuff. We making this up as we go. Let's try that again. Say it. In order to feel normal, you got to start some stuff. Y'all gonna remember this while you driving. Your wife gonna go. Say shame has power because we honor it with our actions. Y'all get that? Shame has what? Because we honor it with our what? Actions. Say shame. Just let me just say this. Shame disconnects me. You don't have to say it. Shame disconnects me from who I am. Okay. Say it disconnects me from love, truth, and acceptance. Y'all bear with me. I want to teach one way. He's saying, just do what I'm telling you to do. So there's a thing going on right here. Genesis 2:25. And the man and his wife were naked, and they were not embarrassed or ashamed in each other's presence. They became ashamed when truth came into the garden. Did y'all hear that? When truth came into the garden, which was God, they could now see themselves, and they were now what? Ashamed. So when truth comes, you can't allow shame to take over. Most of us, we get the truth hurts. Yeah, it does, but it also heals. I learned I don't care who we are, the way out is through. And we all go what? Through. Shame's voice hems us up into a cycle of performance. Let's be transparent. Yesterday I'm at dinner or lunch, or day before yesterday, I can't remember. It had to be the day before yesterday, and Talita invited Jill and I to lunch. So we were sitting down at the table, and they went to one of my favorite type of restaurants, and we were sitting at the table. Have you ever seen a conversation take place and you want to be a part of it, but you can't find it within yourself to join it because the way you feel? People who listen to me, if you've ever done, give me a heart or something to say, hey, listen, there have been some times that I just didn't want to talk and because I understood if I talked, I was going to start crying. So I said, y'all give me a minute. I got up and walked outside. I ended up sitting down up against the wall and I just cried. See, because crying relieves the toxicity in your system. It also helps you to hear from God. And I just cried. And I came back. And they was looking at me. I said, y'all the top favorite people in my life. And we haven't done this in a year and a half. And I'm understanding how special it is. And I don't want to lose this. I don't want to lose this. So I just want to let you know, I love you. I love both of y'all dearly. And I said, I'm just sad right now. And I need you to know that. And then this is what came out my mouth, Will. I can't perform no more. See, it started when I first started taking some of the medication, and it started messing with me. So when I would have to walk, something would say, perform. Let them know you're strong. Let them know you're okay. Don't let them see you sway. And I said, I won't. I can't. I won't. It's going to be what it's going to be. But I'm not going to perform anymore. So I told my wife and my daughter, I said, I can't perform no more. And if I get in here and act like I'm strong right now, it's a performance. And I don't want to put it on anymore. Why? Because that becomes your false self for trying to make everybody happy. Mimi, I don't want to do it no more. And it's a great deliverance because it brings me back to authentically who I am. So, shame makes you perform and put on a false self. In order, and you did that, and say, I did that to survive my environment. Please understand, when you hear my tears, these are tears of joy. God, he gave for one day I'm going to tell the whole story. It's coming up soon. But I want you to understand, some of you have been fighting for years to be free. This is your moment. This is your moment. Follow Jill, myself, and any other leaders here, and let us be living epistles. Read our lives. Read what change looks like. Performance is about me keeping my good name. And to prove I'm not who you say I am. Psalms 32, please. Let's read. Somebody read it. Y'all read it out loud. If I give him a microphone, he can read it. But let's start reading it. Go.
Wasted away through my groaning all day long. For day and night your hand was heavy upon me. My strength was sapped as in the heat of summer. Selah. Then I acknowledged my sin to you and did not cover up my iniquity. I said, I will confess my transgressions.
Let's stop right here. We don't want nobody in our business. You don't want nobody in your business. And so you ain't going to confess nothing. What am I doing up here? I'm teaching, but I'm also confessing. I've been confessing to my wife, confessing to my friends, everybody. No, because there's power in confession. If I don't get up here and speak, let me ask you a question. You ever had a point and say, yes, I did? You ever have a point to say, if I don't do this, I won't sleep tonight? The voice of God has to be that urgent. His nudges, say this, his nudges, his promptings, his whispers, I must respond with an urgency. Say my path is ordered. Listen, don't say this. I have just understood there were no coincidences, there were no accidents, there was no nothing. And everything that I experienced was God trying to tell me something or taking me somewhere. And your path is ordered by the little things you do. It says in one of the scriptures, it's the little foxes that destroy the vine. And so I began to pay attention to the little foxes. Say this, I must begin to pay attention to the little foxes. Can we keep reading that scripture, please?
I will confess my transgressions to the Lord, and you forgave me the guilt of my sin.
Let's really say, then I acknowledge, everybody start at verse 5, go. Then I acknowledge my sin to you.
And did not cover up my iniquity.
Listen, I told Jill, as God reveals to you certain things and you acknowledge them, it's painful. It's painful. Because you're acknowledging where you've been trapped by the enemy. You're acknowledging where the spirit of darkness has had rule in your life. And you don't want to acknowledge it, because to acknowledge it is to own up to it and then face up to it. And so most of us, especially many of us who grew up in rough situations, cognitive dissonance is our God. And if you don't know what cognitive dissonance is, look it up. I'll just give you the Deron version. It is to keep my story straight even when it's a lie, because I don't want the truth. Truth comes in. Cigarette smoke causes cancer. Well, there are people 80 and 90 years old who ain't got cancer, and they've been smoking all their life. I get to hold my madness. Y'all got it? I'm going to leave it there. Say, I want out. Now let me give you the way out. Grace. Grace. You got to get to the point where you are giving grace. Giving them the space to be who they want to be. See, I hear in my spirit, you get irritated because they ain't changed yet. They ain't switched up. Your prayer ain't been answered yet. Grace. Are you a minister of grace or a minister of control? I had to learn that years ago. I wasn't giving grace to my daughter. I wasn't giving grace to my wife. I wasn't giving grace to my friends. And listen to me. Pharaoh is at the top presidency now. And the whole world has now gone into judgment. Listen, he didn't start this. We didn't understand that as we watch these different shows, singing shows, and then they gave us an opportunity to judge the performance. Woo! Talk to me, Holy Ghost. They put a spirit of judgment on us. And so for years, me and Jill sitting there, she ain't do this. Well, she could have did this. Blah, blah, blah. Well, she afraid. Blah. And we ain't doing nothing but sitting on our butts, eating pizza and getting fat. But we got a statement for everybody. And God said, do you understand what's happening here? Wake up, brother. You studied the Great Depression, and you know when anything is getting ready to crash, the first thing they turn on is game shows. That's why you got so many game shows that's out here right now. Let's do this, let's do that, let's play. When it's real serious. My natural father taught me that. Thank you, Eric Cloud. He taught me that when I was 13, 14. He said, don't you believe this, man? It was probably, however old I would have been in the 70s in the gas crisis. The world was in a crisis. And every game show, everything that can happen. He said, see, because my father was also a follower of Martin Luther King, Malcolm X. In fact, I grew up with Martin Luther King and Malcolm X as a poster of artwork in my house. Your steps is ordered. He said, don't you pay attention to this, bro. He said, they're trying to keep us up here. He helped me to see the world the way I see. I got nothing but love for you, Eric. I got nothing but love for you, Daddy. I've already sent that to him. You know why? Say this, they ain't do nothing to me. It's just what happened. Say, set the tone. Now say, set your tone. Grace is given also in your tone. Grace is about love, forgiveness, and favor. We're talking about the way out. The tone of love is acceptance. If it's not acceptance, then it feels like judgment. Take you through exercises that I do on a regular, and hopefully when you're ready to acknowledge truth. Say this, until I am, say, Deron, you got time, calm down. And that's actually a sign, whatever sign that is. Please tell me y'all heard a baby. Okay, that's all I just want to know. I said, woo! Lord have mercy. Say change. Breaking my old belief structure should be gradual, not fast. To take off the mask will cause a strong emotional reaction. The truth in the end will set you free, but the truth is painful to discover. Because, say this, because most of my attachments and resistance to life has been based upon a lie I made up in order to survive. You may not find the next statement funny, but I find it funny in a spiritual, cosmic type of way. God said, if you humble yourself, you'll lose weight. Cancer didn't make me lose weight. I heard the Spirit start talking to me 3-4 years ago, 90-day mandate, whenever, all that kind of stuff. He said, get your body in order. I had no idea. I didn't go raw because of cancer. I went raw because I heard a little nudge say, I need you to switch up now. I asked you all to help go along with me. I went swimming last week. I'm at the pool crying. I said, God, I ain't did this in 1.5 years. Gratitude is shown in your tone. Whoa! Gratitude is showed in your tone. If you ain't grateful for your house, you ain't grateful for the car, you ain't grateful for life, you ain't grateful for revelation, you ain't grateful for the revealing, you ain't grateful for your job, you ain't grateful that you have a place to stay, you ain't grateful that you're breathing, you ain't grateful that you don't have a disease that's causing you all kinds of problems. If you ain't grateful for whatever God has done, it's going to be in your tone. I was trying to get to, I must be brutally honest. Say that. I must be brutally honest with myself. And let me tell you something. If you're fortunate enough, and this may not sound like being fortunate to some of the men, if you live with them long enough, They'll cross out of the 20s and the 30s, and they'll get into the 40s, and things will start changing. And then right around before 50, you may not be brutally honest with yourself, but she's going to be brutally honest with yourself. And she be saying some stuff, I'd be like, I'm glad I'm secure. Because that would have hurt. What? Because they end up with no more cut cards either. Am I telling the truth? Sisters say, tell them. They ain't got time to overlook your flimsy, whimsy, temperamental attitudes anymore. Because their clock is ticking. And they understand that, wait a minute, I need to do what I need to do. And I can't coddle you and put oil on your fat stomach no more. I just made that up. I'm just trying to give a little sugar so it can go down easily. John 1:14, the word became flesh and made its dwelling among us. We have seen his glory, the glory of one and only, who came from the Father, full of grace and truth. Set your tone. But let me tell you something about setting your tone. It's got to be hard. If you go around, I found out when I first started taking the other type of medication that it depletes certain things in your system and makes your resistance low. So because of the different medications and everything, I didn't have the tone. Put it this way, I realized there were some areas that I was functioning on what I knew intellectually, but it wasn't hard. Because once my resistance became low, let me see if I can do it. If this is my threshold and my spirit is normally here, that medication would bring my spirit right here. So if anything happened, I'm ready. I'm anxious. Did that make sense to you all? Huh? Somebody said no. Let me just say, try it again. Thank you. If my spirit rises at this level, my consciousness, and my spirit is at this level, and then I am reduced by the medication to this level. Therefore, I ain't got but this much space to go into. I have this new saying, I have no space for denial. I can't go into denial in any way, shape, or form. And so once that space was depleted, I realized, wait a minute, what is happening? Why is my tone changing? What is going on? And then that's when I realized, Deron, you got to change your heart because you're trying to go off of memory. You're trying to go off of principles. It's got to come from the heart and the soul. So I confess, I said, Jill, my tolerance is low. But here's what I know. See, sometimes God is already preparing you. He's saying, take I'm into you up 5 degrees. He said, you already know how to do this. Make her your priority. Make me your priority. I'm trying to end, y'all. Service started at 9:30 or 10 o'clock. Okay, good. All right. Say total self-love plus acceptance equals the foundation for happiness. Let's bring that up, please. I'm going to need you to read that for me. I can't even see it.
And you shall love the Lord your God.
Yes, everybody read that all together. Don't read the A's and stuff. I took this out of Amplified. Keep going.
And you shall love the Lord your God out of your whole heart, and out of and with all your soul, and out of and with your mind. Yeah, and out of and with your strength.
Keep going.
This is the first and principal commandment. The second is like it, and it is this: you shall love your neighbor as yourself. There is no other commandment greater than these. Total self-love plus acceptance equals foundation for happiness and the love of others.
Listen, I went through some of the most major issues 5, 6 years ago. Sometimes things come because God is trying to show you who you are. With names I couldn't say, things I couldn't do. And God says, because you got your hope in man, put your hope in me. Stop being afraid of being able to voice a name, or don't talk about them around me. Is my spirit not strong enough to help you overcome that? Are you not more dialed in, or is that an indication you can't speak of their name because you still got unforgiveness in your heart? Y'all better hear what I'm saying. See, when you want healing, you want to make sure all your space is clear. Oh, no. See, you was thinking about me. You got some places you need some healing. Your space needs to be safe. It needs to be cleansed. It needs to be pure. And you'll find out when you go through, I ain't got but so many to talk to. All right. I want to quit because I feel like I done did it already, but say my truth. Say my truth. I want y'all to understand, don't you get caught up with this whole my truth thing. Say there's the truth, and then there's my truth. And my truth better be based on the truth. Let's read that scripture together, please. Psalm 6:3. Go.
My soul also is greatly troubled, but you, O Lord, how long?
Listen. He's saying, listen, I'm going through. How long it's going to take you? But there he acknowledges, my soul is greatly what? Troubled. Whew. This is where I show you who I am. You know how to do it when it's your time of the month. When cramps and all that stuff is going on, you know how to pull it in and say, my body is greatly troubled. My body is greatly troubled. So it would be good for me not to talk right now. It'll be good for me not to say anything right now. I can look at my wife and say, her body is greatly troubled. Go sit down, chill out, ride low. And I keep hearing, low rider, get a little lower. I'm going to do a thing on menopause and man pause. Because when you both going through it at the same time, the pause come out. Y'all write that down because I just made that up. Menopause and menopause, and when the pause come, and when they get to when a man in menopause and a woman in menopause and a man in menopause come together, the pause come out, and then pull it from what's the dude, the comedian, little short dude. Yeah, pull it from Housewives or whatever. The pause. That's it. I hope y'all can get with me because I'm doing a couple of things at one time. Keep going. Let's go back up. You cannot heal. Go ahead. Read it. You cannot heal what you cannot acknowledge. You cannot acknowledge what you do not seek to understand through prayer and meditation. Vulnerability, it means to wound. Core of shame, fear, and struggle, or the birthplace of joy and creativity, belonging and love. Now listen, I'm just going to explain this to you because my knowledge became expanded in the last 2 years. I began to tell you all, sit in it. Sit in it. But now what he's showing me and what I'm understanding right now, when I say it's pregnant with possibility, my trials are pregnant with what? possibility. You can't get caught up in the pain of the trial. You got to know there's going to be some love at the end of this. There's going to be some understanding. Ruth, can you come here for a second? Just stand right here. My friend, I can't think of your name. Give me your name. Nigina, stand right here. Nigina is the truth. Nigina is the new space. I represent blue, depression. When you acknowledge who you are, what you don't understand is when you say, okay, I'm going to sit with this pain. I'm going to sit with this depression. Put your arm around me. Come on, we friends. Not you, darkness. No, she's not dark. She's light, right? So who am I around? This is what? So I'm blue. I'm the darkness. Thank you. Okay, I got it. I'm making this up as I go. When you sit with darkness, you're going to act like that. But what God says, if you sit with it and let him transport you to a new space, the light, stand with her. Now, 1, 2, you come stand up right here, please. I'm standing right here because I'm not going to be in the camera. Be on this side. Please be on this side. Say possibility. All I want you to understand is when you sit in your emotion and you are not afraid to feel what you are feeling, you're going to be transported to a new world because now you're going to understand it don't hurt. Not as bad as you're making it out to be. And then he now puts you in a new place of possibility because now your mind is open to a new world because the world is no longer cluttered with that hurt. God bless you. Come on, can we give God a praise? Come on. Come on. Come on, you can do better than that. Come on, we can do much better than that. I'm going to pray for you. I'm going to pray for those that are standing. I pray, too, just pray, Deron. Father, I pray that my words were spoken in such a way that brought healing. God, I pray that my meditation of my heart have brought healing. God, bless someone who's feels shame right now. Help them to handle the pain. Help them to understand you're trying to return them to their authentic self. Father, give them courage. Give them courage to stop cognitive dissonance and denial. Hallelujah. Hallelujah, Lord. Hallelujah, Lord. Give them courage, God, not to spend their whole life in denial, but to face the truth of what they're feeling and get delivered. Father, give the mother courage to change her tone and give her a heart of love. Let her know that her education made it necessary for her to be angry and yell and mean and cantankerous and spiteful. Father, help the brother change his tone with his children, the argumentative tone. Help him to see this ain't going to work. Love is the only thing that works. Father, I'm asking you, whoever's under the sound of my voice, let them know, let them find out who's talking, shame or my authentic self. Because with my authentic self, tear down my child's soul. And Father, anybody who's been through some of the things that other people have been through and have been healed, let it fall in their lives. And God, wherever I need to be healed, let it fall in my life. Father, I thank you. Say, deliverance is a process. Father, listen to me, Father. You've done great things, and I thank you for what you've done. Say this, I read what I sow. Go out there and sow some love. Amen. God bless you.